All right, so today we're going to be talking all about family in English
Yeah.
and how to connect with others using the right words and phrases.
And you know what's really cool about the material we're looking at today?
Yeah.
It was actually made for beginners.
Oh, perfect.
So it's going to be super clear, easy to grasp,
Awesome.
even if you're, a little bit more advanced. This is a great refresher
Yeah,
just to really solidify that foundation.
absolutely. And it's like,
Yeah.
making sure the roots of your language tree are strong before you
Exactly.
add all the branches and leaves.
Yeah, you don't want it to topple over.
Exactly. So our material today, it jumps right into, those basic family terms.
Yes, the classics.
Yeah, father, mother, brother, sister, all that good stuff.
I love that they really emphasize repetition
Oh, yeah.
for those words because it might seem simple, but that's how those sounds and those meanings really get into your brain. It builds that muscle memory.
Totally. It's like learning a song.
Yes.
You got to sing it a few times before.
Exactly.
It's really in there.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I noticed was that the hosts of the source material, they were talking about their own families.
Right?
And one had kind of a medium-sized family and one had what they called a big family.
No, that's such a good point because it really highlights that,
Yeah.
families come in all shapes and sizes,
Yeah.
even within the same culture.
Yeah.
You could have a really small, close-knit family, or you could have this huge extended family.
Right. Aunts, uncles, cousins,
Exactly.
second cousins once removed, all that.
All of them.
So to describe our own family, the material gave us this phrase, I have.
Yes.
And it's simple, but it really gets the job done.
It does.
Like I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Exactly. And as you progress in your English, you can start to build on that.
Yeah.
You could say, there are 5 of us in my family, or I come from a large family.
So many options.
I know.
Okay, so we've got those basic family members down,
Yes.
but what really brings those relationships to life is describing them.
Right. Absolutely. It's not just who they are.
Yeah.
It's what your relationship with them is like.
Exactly.
And the material gave us some great phrases for this.
Ooh, yeah, like what?
Things like, I'm close to,
Okay.
we get along well, or even we don't talk very often.
Yeah, because let's be real, not all those family relationships are
Oh, no.
perfect,
Definitely not.
So it's good to have that language to express those little nuances.
Exactly. And one of the hosts mentioned that he was closer to his younger brother than his older brother.
Okay.
And he kind of attributed that to being closer in age and living closer together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I have a cousin
Uh-huh.
who I grew up with, and she's basically like a sister to me. And then, I have other cousins that I haven't seen in years.
Right.
The distance, age
All
gaps,
plays a part,
all of it.
personalities.
It shapes the family dynamics.
And having the words to express that is so important.
Absolutely. It's like adding all those little brushstrokes
Yeah.
to paint a more vivid picture.
Love that.
So we've got the people, the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about what families do together.
Yes.
Because that also tells us a lot about them, right?
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
And even something as simple as my family loves to cook together
Uh-huh.
or we enjoy going on hikes can reveal a lot.
Yeah. I love those examples from the material.
Me too.
Like if you say your family loves to cook together, to me, that suggests
Oh, yeah.
a love for food tradition, maybe a little chaos in the kitchen.
A little bit of mess.
Exactly. And then like going on hikes together
Yeah.
shows that they love nature being active.
Right. And maybe even like a little healthy competition.
Oh, yeah. Who can get to the top of the hill first?
Exactly.
Right. So it's not just listing activities.
Right.
It's kind of giving us a glimpse into their personality.
It adds those extra layers of meaning.
So it's not just we go to the park. It's we love spending time outdoors as a family.
I love that.
Subtle but powerful.
And as you learn more English, you can get even more specific with those descriptions.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what kind of food do you cook?
Right.
Where do you hike?
Exactly.
The possibilities are endless.
And speaking of endless possibilities, the material also touched on something that really resonated with me.
Okay, what's that?
The idea that friends can be like family,
Yes.
that chosen family.
That's so true.
We build over time.
I love how English uses those family terms to express that, like, she's like a sister to me, or he's like a brother to me.
Yeah, it's almost like you're saying, this person is so important.
Yes.
They fit into that core circle of loved ones.
Exactly. You're using language to define those relationships, even if they're not family in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
And this actually leads us to a really important concept in language learning.
Okay, what's that?
Metaphors.
Ooh, metaphors.
Yes.
I remember those from school.
I know, right back in the day.
But how do they work in the context of family?
Well, a metaphor is basically a figure of speech where you're using one thing to represent another.
Okay.
So when you say, she's like a sister to me, you're not literally saying she's your sister.
Right.
You're using that word sister to represent that feeling of closeness,
Okay.
that shared history, the deep affection.
That makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's like saying he's a rock
Yes.
to describe someone who's really strong and dependable.
Exactly.
You're not saying that they're literally made of stone,
No.
but you're using that image to get your point across.
You got it. And as you get more comfortable with English, you'll start to see these metaphors everywhere. They
Okay.
really add depth and richness to the language.
Awesome.
Yeah. And, to really bring this all together, the source material actually had this great role play.
Oh, yeah.
Showing how you could use these phrases in real life.
It was a really cool scenario.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, hey,
Yeah.
I could totally have this conversation. It wasn't too intimidating.
No, not at all. And that's really encouraging when you're just starting out.
Yeah, fluency isn't about knowing all the words.
Right.
It's about being able to use what you do know to communicate.
Totally. So remind me, how did that role play start?
It was as simple as, are you visiting alone?
Okay.
And that gave the tourist a chance to talk about his family.
Right. And he didn't just say, yeah, I have a family.
No, he actually introduced them.
It did. He was like, I'm here with my wife, Anna, and my kids, Emily and Alex, or something like that.
Exactly.
So cute.
Adding those names makes it so much more personal.
It does.
And then notice how the local responded with another simple question.
What was it?
Do you have a big family back home?
Oh, yeah.
So easy.
And then the tourist could share a little bit more.
Exactly. He said he had 3 siblings and lots of cousins.
It's amazing how a simple question
Yeah.
can lead to a whole conversation.
And it's a great model for how you can start conversations in English.
That's true.
Just ask a simple question. The other person responds, and you build from there.
Building a tower,
Yes.
brick by brick.
I love that.
What I also really liked was that both the tourist and the local,
Yeah.
they expressed that shared feeling of family being important.
Absolutely.
Remember the tourist said something like, family is so important.
Yes. And that's something that I think really transcends cultures and languages.
Totally.
It's something we can all connect with.
A universal truth.
And for you as a learner,
Yeah.
it's a reminder that even with basic English, you can still express something meaningful.
You don't need all the fancy vocabulary words.
No.
So we've got the role play, the phrases,
Mm-hmm.
but the material went even deeper, didn't it?
It did.
It had those cool little facts about where words like family and sibling came from.
Yeah, it's like uncovering little treasures
I know.
hidden within the language.
Did you know family comes from the Latin word familia,
Oh, wow.
which meant household?
That's so cool.
I know.
How the meaning changes over time.
And I also thought it was interesting that sibling is a gender-neutral term.
That is interesting.
It shows how language adapts to be more inclusive.
It does.
Learning these little bits of history really makes the words come alive.
I agree. It adds so much depth to your understanding.
It does. Okay, so let's take a moment to recap what we've covered so far.
Okay, sounds good.
So we started with those core vocabulary words.
Mm-hmm.
Father, mother, brother, sister,
The essentials.
the foundation.
Yeah,
And then we moved into describing those relationships more fully.
right.
Adding in those details with phrases like, I'm close to, or we don't talk very often.
Getting those nuances in there.
Exactly. The
Ugh.
good, the bad, the in-between.
Yeah, all of it.
We talked about how describing family activities can show their values and interests,
Absolutely.
whether they love cooking or hiking.
It gives us a picture of who they are.
Yeah. And we can't forget about friends being like family.
Yes.
Using those metaphorical expressions like, she's like a sister to me.
Such a powerful way to express those bonds.
It is. And then we even got to see these concepts in action with the role play,
Yes.
showing
Uh,
that even with basic English,
mm-hmm.
you can have these meaningful conversations about family.
You can.
And then to top it all off,
Yeah.
we had those fun facts about the origins of the words.
Adding that extra layer of richness.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to come back to something you said earlier about how family dynamics
Oh, yeah.
can be shaped by all these different factors, like
Yeah.
distance, age gaps, and personalities.
Mhm.
So how would you describe your relationships with your own family members
Ooh.
using what we've learned today?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I come from a pretty close-knit family.
No.
We don't always agree on everything, but there's
Yeah.
definitely a strong sense of loyalty and support there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'm especially close to my younger sister.
Oh.
We just have that kind of relationship where
Yeah.
we can talk about anything and we
Yeah.
always have each other's backs. That's so sweet. And I love that you're using those descriptive phrases we talked about,
Oh, yeah.
like close-knit and always have each other's backs.
It's true.
It really does paint a picture.
Yeah. It's funny how just adding those few words can really convey so much.
Yeah.
It's not just stating the fact that I have a sister.
Right.
It's sharing what that relationship actually feels like.
It is. And that's what I think is so cool about learning a new language.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about the words themselves.
Yeah.
It's about how you use them to express yourself
Absolutely.
and connect with others.
I couldn't agree more.
So I really hope that's what you're taking away from this deep dive today.
Yes.
Whether you're just starting out
Uh-huh.
or you've been learning English for a while now,
Yeah.
there's always something new to discover
Absolutely.
about how to talk about your family,
Mm-hmm.
your relationships, your experiences.
Exactly.
It's like adding more tools to your toolbox.
Yes.
Right.
It is. The more words and phrases you have, the more effectively you can build those connections.
Right.
And share your stories with the world.
So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a little challenge.
Ooh, I love a good challenge.
I know, me too.
Okay.
Think about all those stories you want to tell about your family. What other phrases or expressions could you learn to really help you do that?
Ooh.
Maybe there's a phrase to describe a quirky family tradition
Uh-huh.
or a word that captures that feeling you get when you're all together.
That's such a good challenge. And remember,
Yeah.
there's so many resources out there
There are.
to help you expand your vocabulary.
Definitely.
So don't be afraid to explore.
Yes.
Experiment. Have fun with it.
Because at the end of the day, language is about connection.
Yeah.
It's about sharing those stories that make us who we are.
Beautifully said.
Oh, thank you.
So keep practicing, keep telling those stories.
Yes.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive on talking about family in English.
Ah.
We hope you learned some useful tips and feel inspired to keep practicing.
Yes.
Until next time, happy language learning.